So you talked a lot about homeschooling, and you also mentioned that people around you in your environment they think you guys are crazy for doing this, and they don't understand how and why, etc. As you know, I've asked this a couple of times already. In America, it's more common. Actually, I have the feeling it's becoming more and more common. But in the UK, and especially in Europe, and especially in Spain, I've never heard of anybody homeschooling their kids in Spain. I'm not even sure if it's legally allowed. But that beside the point, man. I'm really interested in it because what you guys are doing and what Nietzsche was doing with his kids and what other people are doing homeschooling their kids, it's so interesting. Can you explain a little bit about how that came about? What was your reasoning about it? And what's your vision, your goal with homeschooling your kids?
It came about really from Michelle, and I was a typical... well, I hadn't actually given any other consideration. It was always going to be my kids were going to go to the local primary school, they were going to go on, they were going to go to secondary school, and that was going to be it. Michelle then started exploring the idea with me, and probably like most people, the first thing that comes in, I loved school. I literally loved every minute of it, predominantly because I loved seeing my mates and I loved sport. That was pretty much it in a nutshell. And I got to do all these sports, and I got to do it all the time, and I got to see my mates throughout the day. That was the main driver. Academically, I was quite fortunate; things came quite easy to me and stuff like that. So I never really was never really out of my comfort. I never woke up in the morning going, "Oh, I've got school today." I never had a day off school unless I was very, very, very ill, like chicken pox or something like that. I never got the playing truant. I never wanted to play truant. I just loved going to school. So I had that mentality. So when Michelle started talking to me, I was like, yeah, socially, what are we going to do though? Because I had a vision that our homeschooling was going to be Michelle at home with Bear all day trying to raise them. So I couldn't get my head around it. She's like, no, there's always groups that you can go to, etc., etc. And if you actually rewind about where high schools came into this, and when people used to go to work from 12 and 13, they used to start working at that point. And high schools were introduced at the Great Depression, at the height of that, when there were no jobs for anyone. So it was a big thing. It's like, oh, I know, let's create a high school, and that will take a load of the population off, and then we don't have to worry about finding jobs for them. We can put them in a certain system, and then we'll go from there. And if you go down this whole route, and again, it's all beliefs. This is my belief. You go to school, you're there on a start time. The bell goes, you come in, you're in your lesson. The bell goes, it's break time. The bell goes, you're back in the lesson. The bell goes, it's lunchtime. So on and so on throughout the day. And when you during the industrial age, you're going up into work for the first time. So you leave school. The first thing you do is go down the factory. The bell rings. Guess what? You go to school. You go into work. You work until the bell rings. Then it's break time. Then the bell rings, and you're back at work. Then it's lunchtime, etc. So it's really like not institutionalizing, but it's definitely forming those habits that they want you to have throughout life. The other thing that I think schools encourage quite a lot, they don't encourage you to really finish a great deal of stuff. So you'll be in a lesson, you'll be learning maths, you'll be learning English, and then you'll be halfway through the lesson, and then the bell rings, and you've got to close up all your books, put them in your bag, and you've never really finished anything. Yeah, sure, you get some homework, and you go on. Guess that gets you used to doing a bit of overtime as well by doing the homework after school. So there's all that. Coupled with the fact that classroom sizes were getting bigger as being part of Europe. There were a lot of people over from Europe, no problem with that at all, but classroom sizes just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And for me, if you're teaching someone something, there's only one way you can teach. So I get why you have to teach to a classroom size of 30, so you have to get people sat down, you have to talk to them in certain ways because you have to install a lot of discipline. And then when you're at school, you've got the curriculum, you're spending a load of time on history, you're spending a load of time on geography. Sure, if you've got a passion about it, let's spend a load of time learning about all these subjects, but actually there's some core subjects you probably need to learn more of. And definitely, I think the physical things there as well with that. But there's something more powerful about if you start, if you've got a passion about something and you can learn about maths and history, and you can still learn, I mean, the powerful thing about school is you learn how to learn, aren't you? So you're reading books and you're looking on the internet, you're taught how to do that. Bear can do that now. He can learn maths in a fun way. He can learn how to read and in a fun way. He can interpret books in his way. He's so creative. He can create his own stories. He's doing his YouTube videos. What they don't teach at school is they don't teach you economics. They don't teach you how to budget, which is why I'm terrible at budgeting and looking after my money. So I want to teach a bit of that. I've got to teach myself first. So budgeting, all that sort of stuff, timekeeping. You're not taught to timekeep. You just taught to be somewhere at a certain time, not actually manage your own time and do stuff. So there is not one specific reason why we wanted to do it. There was a load of different reasons. Michelle was definitely the instigator. And I think the proof's there so far. Going back to what I said at the beginning, if Bear wanted to suddenly say, I want to be a doctor, then we're going to have to look at getting him into school. If he wants to go to school, he can go to school. It's not that we're against schools. I think they're amazing in so many ways, but especially when you're having to teach so many people. But there's so many careers now that you don't need the grades to actually see it. I mean, ultimately, here's the thing. So you get in the UK, you do your GCSE, which gets you age of 16. What those grades allow you to do is then do your A-levels at the college of your choice. Then you're 18. And what your A-level results do is actually allow you to go to the university that you want to do. Then you rack up a load of debt. Then you go to work where actually, even if you've graduated now, you're not guaranteed a job. You've got a load of debt. And even, I mean, I'm not a graduate. I'm a commercial director at a manufacturer responsible for 120 people at our business. That hasn't been from this big education thing. That's been from being hardworking, driven, passionate, and just wanting to achieve something. And that, I'm not driven by money or anything like that. I'm just driven by like admiration or results in other ways and just achieving stuff. So there are a load of the reasons why we chose to go down the home education route. I mean, there was a time when, going right back, you'd be born into money because it was all to do with land. Then it was the rich would get richer and the poor would get poorer. Then it became a little bit further on. It was the rich can be rich, but also the poor can get there eventually if they work it really hard and they do something different. Now we're at an age where a 16-year-old become a millionaire within a week if they land something on social media and just create it. So for me, there's a whole world of education out there which doesn't revolve around schools.
I
was all over the place, but hopefully you get the gist of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the last thing, of course, is the most important thing. I mean, you can go to school all you want, but then there's people that, like, well, you say, well, you mentioned 16, but there's also 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds that just do something and make tons of money because they've learned something more valuable what they don't teach you in school. There's so many things that in life are so valuable that you just don't teach in school. We just mentioned money, wealth. That's like one of the most important things. They actually said like most marriages fall apart because of the fact that none of them, they're fighting continuously about money, and in school they don't teach that. It's like, really, why?
Yeah, so, actually, the whole thing about people being ashamed of having too much money and people going, oh, don't want to have too much. It's like, actually, it's money that gives you freedom to do anything. So that's how people like Sean can do the traveling so much, etc. Money just gives you freedom. Money can give you experiences. So money is really important. It doesn't have to be a negative thing. Unashamedly, I want to have loads of money. And the thing at the moment, I'm doing a lot of things, and the work that I'm doing now, I've achieved what I've achieved, which is great. You got the 6-figure salary, you got all this, but what could I have achieved if I had ended up following? I stumbled into this when I was into this industry, health and beauty. So I sell moisturiser and shampoo in a heartbeat. I work in the manufacturer, it's a bit more than that, but essentially I'm in that industry, which clearly I'm not cut out for. Love it, but if it was in something that I was loving and passionate about and gave the same amount of energy, and there was that there, God, waking up every day, I mean, I never worry about going to work. I love going to work. But imagine if it was something like you were seriously passionate about, like you're doing now. Amazing. So, anyway, venting.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's why I'm not saying anything. I just let you vent. It's absolutely perfect. And I keep mentioning it as well. They've done a study in the US, and they were saying that 75% of the people that are working in a job are not happy with the job that they're having, which is absolutely insane. But at the same time, that's what they're teaching you at school. You go to school and then when you're done at school, you get a job. Period.
And if you work really hard for 40 years, you'll be able to enjoy your life for about 5 or 10 when you're actually no longer physically active to enjoy it. So, bonkers.
Exactly. That's why fearless fathers.
If you keep doing the same thing and getting the same results, that's like the definition of insanity, isn't it? So.
Absolutely.
It's kind of that. Yeah.
Plus the fact, you're an entrepreneur, you get to spend your time as you see fit, which means, and that's why for me, a fearless father must be an entrepreneur. It's because how can you be a fearless father or a father in general if you're at your job the whole time? And then,
no, exactly. So here's the thing: I want to have more time. So I don't, because we've separated. I don't have to have every other weekend with my kids. I don't have to worry about that. I can see them every single night if I'm home, and every weekend. And the luxury of that is because I've been working, and the money that I've been earning has meant Michelle doesn't have to work, and because Michelle's at work and she gets to spend all that time with the kids. And even then, we've got the money that they can have all these experiences. We've had these holidays. They do all these activities that I described. They're all free. You've got to pay for them, and they love doing them. So you've got all that side. But equally, I don't want to be confined to Monday to Friday for the rest of my life. That will give at some point. But right now, I love my job. It's doing what we're doing. It's allowing me to study and focus on all the other stuff that I want to do. And just.
of course, in the end, sometimes you have to do what you have to do to get to the visions that we want to reach.
Yeah.
Hey man, I hope you got all the information out of this that you were looking for. If so, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you hit the bell, then every time we come out with a new video, you will be informed. For now, thanks for listening, and I hope to see you soon.